start by unpacking the central question. Why is there such a significant difference between the returns reported by GIC and the interest paid to CPF members? At GIC's 40th anniversary, it was highlighted that their long-term returns averaged over 5% above global inflation since 1981. However, these returns are reported in USD and measured in real terms, not in Singapore dollars. On the other hand, CPF accounts pay a statutory interest rate, 5% for the ordinary account and 4% for special MediSave and retirement accounts. This difference in measurement and currency creates confusion for many Singaporeans, leading to questions about whether CPF contributors are missing out on higher returns. In this video, we'll break down the numbers, explain the methodology behind the comparisons, and explore what these differences mean for everyday Singaporeans. Make a fair comparison, we need to convert GIC's reported USD real returns into a nominal Singapore dollar return. Using a transparent model, we start with GIC's 5% real return, add Singapore's average inflation, and assume currency effects even out over the long run. This gives us a range of plausible nominal S dollar returns, conservative at 6.5%, baseline at 7.6%, and optimistic up to 9%. CPF balances totaling $649.34 billion as of Q3 2025. The annual interest paid at current floor rates is about $22.7 billion. But if those balances earned a GIC-like return of 7.6%, the implied annual yield would be $49.35 billion, a staggering $26.65 billion more than what CPF pays today. Even under conservative assumptions, the gap remains in the tens of billions. This calculation highlights the power of compounding and the impact of small differences in yield over decades. What does this gap mean for ordinary Singaporeans? First, it's a question of intergenerational equity and opportunity cost. If more of the long-run reserve returns were distributed to CPF members, annual CPF income could rise dramatically, improving retirement adequacy. However, maintaining the current framework gives the government flexibility for fiscal planning and crisis management. Lack of transparency in how reserve returns relate to CPF obligations has fueled public debate and calls for clearer reporting. Additionally, the use of CPF for housing purchases reduces the amount left to earn higher returns, affecting long-term retirement outcomes. Policy options range from modestly increasing CPF rates to publishing notional S dollar returns, or even creating a formula to share reserve returns with CPF. Each choice involves trade-offs between fiscal sustainability, public trust, and retirement security. Given the size of the gap, what can policymakers do? Options include raising CPF floor rates, making reserve returns more transparent, or creating a rule to share a portion of reserve returns with CPF. More structural changes, like limiting CPF use for housing or issuing higher-yielding CPF bonds, could also be considered. Each option has its pros and cons. Raising rates directly benefits members but increases fiscal costs, while transparency builds public trust without immediate financial impact. Ultimately, closing the gap would require careful balancing of fiscal prudence, public expectations, and long-term sustainability. The debate continues, but greater transparency and open discussion are key to finding a solution that works for all Singaporeans.